In all cultures and myths from around the world, there appear to be repeating themes of those discussing strange and malicious entities, often referred to as demonic entities. Interestingly enough, it appears that the religion of Islam also speaks of these darker and malicious entities and refers to them as the people of the fire, or more accurately, as the Jinn. Although they do share a lot of the same characteristics of those of the demon, it appears that the Jinn are far more powerful and can even be tamed by a common man. So today, here at Unexplained Mysteries, we will be talking about the Jinn, the history behind them, as well as strange and supernatural encounters of those of whom have seen the Jinn in modern times. Where did the Jinn come from? According to the ancient scriptures seen throughout the Middle East, the Jinn are often referred to as the people of the fire and seem to be as old as the universe itself. Scholars have noted that the word Jinn itself most likely comes from the Arabic root word jan, to which roughly translates to mean to hide or to conceal, which gives us a clue as to the nature of the Jinn, of which were often regarded as creatures of whom would attempt to conceal themselves from man. The Quran then clarifies that the existence of the Jinn first came about during the act of the creation of the universe, and that the Jinn came into existence after being crafted from a smokeless fire, similar to that of electricity and much purer energy. These stories in fact match that of the Judaism interpretation of the creation of Lucifer, of whom was also crafted from fire, and not that of light similar to other angels. Jinn were then described as being more accurately referred to as the people of the fire, and that they would exist in a plane that rested slightly above ours but still within our world, slightly out of reach of any of our natural senses. Additional information as to the origin and spreading of the Jinn gets a little hazy thereafter, but references are made of the Jinn assisting ruthless kings and rulers, and even helping with the building and construction of many cities and places of immense power. It is hard to refer to a Jinn as a demon, as the Quran and other scriptures will often differentiate between the two, as the scripture specifies that a good Jinn is referred to as a Jinn, but a bad and malicious Jinn is often referred to as a demon. According to these scriptures, the Jinn are similar to man in that they possess the ability of free will and are even judged for their actions at the end of their lives. The power of the Jinn. Given the fact that the Jinn are often described as being unable to be seen or sensed by our natural senses and constantly attempting to evade detection of all kind, it is no surprise then that the main focus of the power of the Jinn circles around its ability to take any form. It is believed that the Jinn have the ability to take the form of any animal or person, and that they will often use these tactics to get away from someone pursuing them or to trick loved ones of an individual into doing something for them. The only way for someone to be certain of whether or not the creature is a Jinn is to look into its eyes. According to legends, the Jinn's eyes are constantly blazing like a fire, and that they can be seen in the eyes of any form that they take. Jinns also possess supernatural abilities, such as that of possessing an individual to take control of their body, being able to predict the future, and being able to perform superhuman feats that are otherwise unexplainable in the physical world, such as speed, flying, vast intelligence, fluency in any language, and a vast amount of unending skills. There are many references in different cultures in the region that often spoke of using the Jinn as an assistant in construction projects, given their incredible supernatural abilities. Kings have claimed whole rivers had been carved out by hand overnight by the creatures. Others had temples built that were some of the largest man-made creations ever seen, all attributed to the supernatural prowess of the Jinn. It is understandable then that given these tales that the Western interpretation of the Jinn referred to as genies tell the story of such creatures granting wishes. In old Middle Eastern scriptures, it appears that there were several cases in which evil and malevolent Jinn were trapped and bound and were then released by a man of whom stumbled across them. As a reward for being made free once again, they would promise a favor for anything the man would want. Although they were incapable of granting wishes, their powers of shape-shifting, flight, super speed, and super strength helped them to achieve next to anything a person asked them for, leading to the myths of the genie. Though these creatures could not age and could take any form they wished, it was made apparent in the Quran that the Jinn are in fact mortal and, in very rare cases, be killed. Although it does not specify how a Jinn is killed or in what way they can be killed, mortality appears to be one of the main fears of the Jinn, as they will almost always promise anything to be freed once they have been bound and restrained. Cultures that reference the Jinn. Although many might believe that the Jinn are only referenced in the Islamic faith, the word and the reference to the creatures pop up all throughout early human history, and even find themselves in amongst many scriptures of the world's most ancient religions and cultures. Beliefs in entities similar to that of the Jinn are often found all throughout pre-Islamic Middle Eastern cultures. In fact, the ancient Sumerian civilization, one of the oldest in existence, believed in the Pazuzu, which had characteristics similar to the Jinn in that though many might have referred to it as a demon, it had the ability to be both a malevolent or benevolent being and also possessed the ability to shapeshift. The ancient Babylonians held the belief of a strange entity known as Utuku, in which might also have its origins similar to that of the Jinn. The Utuku were described as being a class of demonic entities that haunted the remote wilderness, graveyards, mountains, and the sea, which are all the locations in which the Quran tells us that the Jinn reside. Not much is ever explained about the Utuku other than their disdain for human beings and their need to be hidden away from sight. Even the Judaist religion believes in entities similar to that of the Jinn that are referred to as the Shedim. The Shedim are described as being supernatural creatures in early Jewish mythology and resemble the Islamic concept of the Jinn almost word for word. Both are described as being invisible to the human eyes but often chasing physical desires. Both have the ability to be either benevolent or malevolent, and similar to the creation of the Jinn, the Shedim were created shortly after the angels and before the reign of man. In fact, in the Talmud, when regarding the legends of Solomon, the antagonist known as Asmodeus is given the title of being the king of the Jinn and the Shedim, signifying that both creatures are one and the same. The stories do not end there, however, as in the Buddhist religion it is often referenced that the Buddha preached to humans and Jinn alike, and even more references in scripture are made to the Jinn in the Christian religions and the Guanche mythologies. Modern-day encounters with the Jinn. Even to this day, many locals in Iraq and other Middle Eastern countries give reports of Jinn and the usage of black magic. In fact, many people have been killed in public executions after having been charged with using black magic and attempting to summon Jinn or similar entities this past year. Today, many people of the Islamic faith are well versed in the existence of the Jinn and will warn young ones or tourists not to trust people with fiery eyes and to be aware of any animals that might be following you wherever you go. Military encounters with the Jinn. Definitely seen as one of the strangest reports of modern-day encounters with the Jinn was a military encounter seen in Mosul, Iraq back in June of 2003. An Iraqi soldier and other fighters were stationed at the second floor of a police department to assist with the attacks against the police between the locals and the law enforcement of the city. A lot of people were confused by the sudden attacks by the police, and so one of the main purposes of the Iraqi army assisting with safety was to uncover the reasons as to why such disturbances were taking place. In one of the reports taken by an Iraqi military squad stationed for 24/7 surveillance, they claimed that they encountered several Jinn of whom were watching and patrolling the station. The report details that they believed the individuals to be Jinn due to the fact they had glowing red eyes and seemed completely unfazed by the bright surveillance lights used to blind passers-by of whom attempted to get too close to the station at night. Shortly after the report was filed, the entire station was attacked and every soldier and police in the department were killed with no survivors. It then circulated that the Jinn were at the center of the attack and the majority of the disturbances were caused by the Jinn waging the plans of attack. After the report surfaced, the attacks stopped, with many locals claiming that the Jinn went back into hiding after they were discovered. But what do you all think of these strange stories and encounters that circle around the existence of the Jinn and their strange abilities? Be sure to leave your questions and answers in the comment section below, and help us to grow this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.